What's up? I'm Dan Friedenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Friedenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house that's going to be torn down soon.
I understand that there are power lines that are just kind of close.
What's up again? This is Dan Friedenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building.
I'm joined today with John McCloud. How are you doing today, John?
Doing great, Dan. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain, but that's not why you're here, you and the camera there. The reason you're here is because this is a chance encounter where I interview commercial real estate investors. Why am I doing that? Well, I want to know their motivation for getting their next commercial property, and I also want to know the role that they're going to play. What's their core competency that they're going to contribute to their next team? If you want to know how to explain commercial real estate, understand the topic even better, you can go to dandoesdeals.com and you can download your own prettier version of the Dan Does Deals commercial roll die. I don't even ask for your email because I was feeling lazy and I'm going like, you know what? I want you guys to be teaching people about commercial real estate because I want you to be a success. And part of being a success is you have to be able to introduce yourself effectively. So, John, now that I've done that terrifying setup, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yes, sir. My name is John. I go by Jay a lot of the time, Jay McCloud, and I am currently working with a group called Synergy Paradigm Capital. We invest in multifamily real estate, and we're also looking into other classes of commercial real estate to invest in as well. I have invested in about 4 or 5 multifamilies so far in the last year. And so we are out searching for deals as we speak in primarily the southeast section of the United States.
All right, beautiful. Now, we've got a bunch of virtual assistants I know who watch these chance encounters to put all the information into their system. So you're going to end up repeating yourself on some of that. But first, let's do the motivation piece, which means I need to hit this, and I need to hit that, and then I hit this, and then I hit something else because it didn't start up right, and that goes right there. Ta-da! There it is. Much better. Those are my slides. So let's go through the 5 distinct motivations. See, sometimes I have some newbies on here and they don't know what role they're going to play in their next commercial deal, but they probably know what their motivation is, because otherwise, why are they here? It's kind of weird. First motivation is preserving purchasing power. Okay, so there are people out there who rely on the cash flow that comes from their assets, aka wealth. And if inflation rears its ugly head, then the issue is their cash flow. It's not going to be worth as much. So they have to keep on making more acquisitions or else inflation is going to ruin the party. So that's motivation number 1. Motivation 2 is my one, which is trading time for wealth. So I've got a background in the CRM industry, specifically online shopping carts, like an upgrade from PayPal and whatnot. And so it's also mass emailing, all those sorts of online funnels. But the problem with having a cushy tech job is it's still a job, which means you're still getting paid in the form of wages or salary. And that means you're paying the heaviest type of tax there is, which is income tax. So it hit me. It's like, well, if the goal is to accumulate wealth, then what am I doing giving away half before I even have a chance to stuff it into these assets and accumulate wealth? Why not pivot and go for the wealth itself? So that's why I'm in commercial real estate, is I'm in it for the equity in a short span of time. The next motivation is the most common one. The last one's my one. This one, fast tracking retirement, is not so much of a priority for me But the reason for that is there's one thing that's implied if you're saying fast tracking retirement, which is you want to get down to the, like 1 week per month or 1 day per month or whatever sort of lifestyle where you're not actively involved. And that's perfectly fine. And, maybe it's sooner than later. Maybe you want to move someplace like the Philippines where the cost of living is much lower. And so being an accredited investor is enough to get by for quite some time. But that's the next motivation. But that's in contrast to the people who will never quit, even when they're in their 90s. They're so ambitious. They want to buy their entire hometown, and they're just nothing's going to stop these guys. They're also very handy to have around because they're high motivation. But the idea is that if you want to buy your hometown, then that means you're also more concerned for yourself and your family. Maybe generational wealth is something you're looking for. Or maybe you want your great grandchildren to never have to get a day job. But the last motivation is some people are in this because they want to help people who need it. They've picked some sector of society and they said that, okay, dollars and cents are nice and I want to accumulate all sorts of wealth. But maybe it's to, help the environment. Maybe it's to help a certain sector of society. Maybe it's animals, whatever it is. But that's the other type of motivation where the person's still going to keep on going, but it's not just to squeeze out every dollar and cent that they possibly can. So of those 5 different motivations, John, what stands out, what resonates with you as far as motivations for your next commercial deal?
Well, if I only had to pick one, then it would be trading time for wealth. But there were a couple others that are very high.
Sure. Yeah. What combination? You can go ahead and say.
Oh, okay. Then fast tracking to retirement, and the last one, helping others. My background is also in nursing, so helping others is kind of what I've done for a long time. So.
Yep. I definitely hear that. That's excellent to hear. So the next segment is on the commercial roles, and I take this right from zero so that, I've shown this to my 8-year-old before to make sure that they get it. So I'm going to start off right from the beginning and talk about what's a repositioner. A repositioner is a person who looks at lots of different properties. And what are they doing with those properties to look at them? Well, first of all, they're doing the underwriting. The underwriting is a fancy word, means they're doing the math because they're going, okay, well, we need to make more acquisitions. And so they're looking for upside. So they're doing the math, finding out, is this property actually even making what the seller says it is? And then they're figuring, how can I reposition it? What can I change so that this property ends up making even more than it is right now, so that they're proving their value. The 2 main tools in a repositioner's tool belt to find that upside, the first one is more efficient operations. Stop those Benjamins from flushing down the toilet. Okay, so there's more than just unclogging toilets and collecting rent. It's also maintenance. There's also a marketing piece, which is one of my fortes. And the marketing piece is to make sure that the vacancy rate stays low. So those are some good things you can do with operations to end up finding some upside. But usually that's not enough for a repositioner. Usually they'll have to go and get a contractor team, or often I should say, not necessarily usually, but you get a contractor team to make the units actually nicer. And then that way you can charge more in rent, maybe it's with other amenities or whatnot. But if the repositioner has the operations and the contractor team, there's a good chance they're going to need one other type of person like myself. See, I'm from the internet. And so if there's a problem, I'm not going to be able to get there in an hour or 2. So I'm going to need a local. I'm going to need the boots on the ground who can drop in on a moment's notice, someone who lives nearby and understands the entire die. Now, if you're a tenant, though, and you look at those 4 sides, you probably have a name for them, which is owner. And that's not that simple. Of course, the banks get involved in everything, the financiers. So a capital raiser is also a type of financier, but in general, we're talking about a bank. And if you go to a bank and say, hey, I found the property, I'm a repositioner, I got my contractor team to make it nicer, I got my operations team, I got my local, the financier doesn't really care too much about that. The thing that they care about is, who's your sponsor? Who's your sponsor? Who's your KP is what they're going to be asking. And what that's all about is, if you want to borrow money to buy one of these big assets, if it's millions or tens of millions of dollars or whatever, they need to have somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset. Okay. So even if you're Elon Musk, richest man on earth, okay, and you want to buy like a 350, 1,500 unit apartment complex, whatever it is, if you want to get a loan, you have to have a sponsor who already owns a similar asset. There's some extra things in there, like you have to produce some liquidity, and then you also have to have a balance sheet worth at least the amount of the loan. But if you have all those pieces, you have yourself a commercial real estate deal. And this is the part where I turn around to Jay and I say, Jay, on those different roles, what are your core competencies that you're going to be contributing to your next commercial deal?
Oh, well, I'm definitely the repositioner. I am the person who on my team goes and finds the acquisition, does the underwriting. I actually contact the sponsor to then show them the deal and to try to help them see why it would be a good idea to try to come along with us and develop the relationship piece there. Because when you're dealing with sponsors, one of the key things is you need to have a really good understanding of who this person is, what they've done, and how they can work well with your team. And
Mhm.
so that is two of the biggest things that I'm doing on my side of the deals. We have other people, and if it is at all possible, then I try to make myself also the local piece. If I can get one close to where I am, so I can help to oversee the deal. But if not, we have the ability to have people closer on the ground, close to what's going on. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So the next question has to do with the ideal property. The ideal property, it's pretty straightforward as it is. It's what properties are easier to say yes to and they're more difficult to say no to. So, and what I'm looking for specifically though is the geography. So what states, possibly counties, anything like that, what sort of unit counts. And then the other part is called class. And class is, I'm not very happy about how it works. There are two different terms, class, for two different things. One of them is the class as far as the condition goes. Okay, so like, is the place falling apart or not? And that's an ABC way of rating system. The other type of class is the actual geographic area as far as like crime rate, quality of schools or whatever. So another term for it is buy box. So Jay, you were just mentioning that if it's possible to do the local piece, then you will. So I'd like to know where you'd be local, but as far as what's your sweet spot as far as properties go. So if somebody has it and they come to you, it's much easier for you to say yes.
Well, ideally, wherever the property is, those two classes are very important that you were describing. So we would want to try and find a C class property in a B area,
Mhm.
and the purpose of that would be you would assume that it would be a lower value property that you're trying to increase the value of the property so that it would move closer to the B position as far as properties are concerned to equate to the B area that
Mhm.
it's in. So that's the purpose of wanting that type of property, ideally wherever you are. And in the climate that we're in right now, B properties and A properties are rather expensive. So some would even say some of the prices are overly inflated. So
Mhm.
that's kind of C to a B is kind of the sweet spot right now, particularly for the type of investing we're doing.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. And one of my favorite things about commercial real estate is that you've got all these different roles, and that means that everybody needs each other. And so people tend to be really, really helpful, but we're all better suited to help some people than others. Me personally, I'm better suited to help sponsors just because of my digital funnel building background with lead acquisitions, sales funnels, and things like that. That's one of the main pieces for the outreach and social media content that I provide my teams. But as far as you go, Jay, without breaking any SEC restrictions as well, because that's a no-no. So the SEC restrictions are, especially regarding 506Bs, is you can't entice investors. Enticing investors is not okay. If you have a 506C, you can do whatever you want. but in general, that's not okay. But who are you best suited to help? Can you describe the person in real estate who you can help more than other types?
Um, I well, I'd say that probably my best skill is communications.
Hmm.
So I'm more, I guess, along the lines of as long as I can understand the needs of whatever party, wherever we are, if I can understand the needs of that person and understand the competency that I'm at, I can communicate the needs from us to them or them to someone else.
Hmm.
So generally in a very effective manner. So for me, my communicating with sponsors, my communicating with the finance piece, um, so that they can I'm more of a visionary, so everybody can kind of get the picture of what it is we're trying to do and how you can be a part of it from wherever your perspective position is. That's whether it's somebody who's going to be signing on a loan and working with the banks, whether it's the sponsor and working with trying to get them to see how good a property it is, or it's on the ground actually there with the property managers and all the people that this is how we work through the problem to get it from point A to point B. This is what has to be done. So I can kind of be
Right.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a team builder is one of the biggest things I'm hearing is that, somebody comes in and, they're on one of these sides and they need to, make a whole die and they don't even realize it. If they connect with you, then, you can make a team, make it work with their core competencies. So I really
Yes, sir.
love that. Now, the best way to reach out to you, we met through a meetup. I find meetups through LinkedIn generally. Is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to you, or do you have a website that's better or something, or what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me at on LinkedIn at J McCloud, or you can find me at uh, www.synergyparadigm.com.
Beautiful, and you can see John's name spelled out in the title of this video, and
Yeah.
it's Mick like McDonald's, not Mac like Macintosh. So that's the trick for that one. But that's awesome. That's your core competencies. That's your role, your motivation, how to reach out to you, who you should reach out to, and all that leaves is for me to have a little bit of a word with you, which is if you notice under my left hand here, there's a red button that it's an enormous problem. It's a problem affecting all sorts of viewers. And the way that you fix this red button problem is you click on it and it turns gray and it has a magical power. It's actually the most awesome type of magic because what it does is it means that YouTube pays for these videos instead of me. And all it takes is a bunch of people hitting that red button and turning it gray. So if you could do that for me, it doesn't cost you anything at all. It's not even 1 cent. It doesn't ask you for credit cards or anything like that. You just hit the button and you've already done the thing. And that's amazing. And you've done me an enormous favor. All it means is that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions, but you don't even have to watch those because you already done me a great favor. Just like John, you've done me an enormous favor by joining me today. This has been fantastic getting to know you better.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Dan, if I can help you out there and just show them, if they just do like that,
Yeah.
that's it. The magic happens.
Exactly.
It's that easy.
Exactly. The Google check will be in the mail. It's amazing. Like it just makes me tingle. Anyway, thanks for that, John. I take
No
care.
problem, buddy. Thank you.